Normal.
Very important.
Like cuss words.
Oh, wait, yeah.
Yeah,
Fine.
I'm sure that's
Go
fine.
for it.
Yeah.
I work very hard to
We
censor
are-
myself when I'm on TV. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say we're now live. That's absolutely fine.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Four Continents 2024 Four Continents recap stream with the wonderful Asher Hill. Thank you, Asher, for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm excited to chat figure skating and four continents.
Of course, we've already had a couple of people say hello. So hi, Daniel, and hi, Amy. So we normally jump straight into how the event was overall.
Where would you like to start?
Yeah, I just was going to say, as an overall event, that I was sad to see we were back to mostly empty stadiums, and that I really wish Four Continents didn't feel like such a afterthought event, and the empty stadium was not helping with that. So I know there are a lot of factors that go into that, and people are talking about like the economic depression in China and how that might have impacted things, but it was sort of sad to see.
Yeah, especially going from Europeans, which had like standing room only. It's which gave me a lot of hope when you were watching it. You're like, oh my gosh, people are still watching and enjoying. And then going to this, I mean, I know it's a massive stadium. What stadium in China isn't? But yeah, it's definitely a little sad to see the smallness of it. But I will always say this in China, when you do the gala, anytime we've gone to China, it's always more packed for the gala. And then if you really want a loud clap, just do a back scratch spin, like 10 rotations. They'll be like, oh, that triple axel, whatever. Oh wow, look at that back spin. That was amazing.
Amazing.
And they still managed to throw 1 million stuffed animals on the ice for Boyang Jin, so that so good.
What I also liked was during the pump up skate out where everyone gets announced, they had like a little pyrotechnics and a smoke show in the back. I don't know if anyone caught that.
No, because I was watching on catch up, so I was fast. I was just like skipping from skate to skate, so I missed the any of that.
Oh yeah, me too. I was doing the same, but I did notice. I'm like, oh, they got like fog machines, little pyrotechnics. That's cool. They really went all out.
That's fun.
It was also the event's 25th year anniversary. So after the gala, I saw a lot of people post this, and they had little balloons, which I thought was adorable.
Yes, that's very funny. I like, you especially talking about, big production value, like all of these things, and then they're just like birthday balloons.
Yeah. I did see this picture, and I thought like one of them was turning 25. I had no idea it was the 25th anniversary of Four Continents.
And I was like, wait, that's too old for half of them and too young for half of them. So
you're right.
this picture.
Oh my god.
The middle cusp of figure skating age, depending on discipline.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that was good. Yeah, what's something to the women? So on the women's podium, we had in first Monet Chiba, second was Cheon Kim, and third was Rinka Watanabe. Yeah, it's kind of a fun women's event, I thought. Yeah, what did you think, Asher?
So I haven't really been paying a lot of attention to Monet, but she is quite incredible. I don't know why every year I've been in skating for so long that I'm still surprised at the depth of the field, and the women's event in Japan is just like they go deep. Like, and I know that she has been like out here doing her thing, but this is kind of the first time I actually got to sit and watch, because often with CBC I'm just really focused on like the top 5. Like I watched the whole event, but then all my analysis is top 3, top 5. And so it was what I do like about 4 continents is that sometimes the top contenders aren't there. They'll be like, I'm getting ready for Worlds, bye-bye. I don't care about this event. So you get to see people really rise up that haven't had the opportunity because there's so much traffic on the way to the podium. But I thought her program was pretty good. I think she had just a one mistake somewhere, I believe, in the free anyways. But no, I love her, and I like it, and I don't know. There's something a little bit unique about her as well.
Yeah, Monet reminds me a little bit of a young Satoko Miyahara in some ways. They have this sort of delicacy to their skating that I'm excited. I think Monet's great right now, but I'm also kind of excited to see, how she develops because she has such amazing fundamentals. And then I'm super happy to see her doing well because at the beginning of the season, like seeing her at Autumn Classic and then at Skate America, like she was really struggling technically there and had some injuries and so I'm really glad to see her kind of being able to put it together to do well for the second half of the season.
Yeah, I agree. Also, I love Chaeyeon as a skater. I think she's very unique in the Korean field. I'm not the biggest fan of her programs this season. I'm not sure they show off the range of skills that she has to the best of her ability. But she's such an impressive skater. I think the content she had last year was a bit better at making her stand out in the field.
Yeah, I agree. She's really very fun to watch. But yeah, I feel like, again, I thought her short program last year was really nice and unusual and made her stand out, and also her free skate I saw Amy saying liking Poeta for her. Yeah, I think she has more. Again, I feel like with both her and Monet, they seem, yes, they're seniors, but they seem like they haven't fully found what their voice and their style is going to be. They have all the talent and they're very well packaged, but what I want to see is where they're going to be in 2 or 3 years. And so I hope that they can, keep the technical side together so that we can keep seeing them at these competitions, even with the deep field, because I'm excited to see where they might develop.
Yeah, and I think she has such great range of movement, and even in this, I do agree. Last year, I liked her programs a bit more, but I really like her use of just it's not random movement because everything's placed, but there's a moment in her free program where she kind of does that. I guess Cowrie kind of does it a lot. The deep half sit hydro blade around leg, and then she grabs her leg into a reverse swan somehow. I like, so what you were speaking to about she has a lot of uniqueness and has a deep skill set, not only jumping wise but movement wise. I think that really showcases it. I just wish no, it's not that it's a bad vehicle. It's a very good program. She's so super consistent. And then as well as I think that one thing that I would like to see more is, and I know we're always asking more in skaters, you should have your eyebrow raised right here when you're giving curiosity to the music while you're also bending yourself in half and spinning at 10 Gs, but I still want it. I think that's the only thing, but again, so young and much more time to develop, and those are little sprinkles that you add to your skating repertoire as you age.
Yeah, definitely. I am as happy for Rinka as well. I really enjoy her, and this was some of the best that we've seen her skate this year. exciting to see her like really going for the triple axel and getting all of this. But yeah, it's not, she's still not 100%, but it's just, I'm again happy that she was able to make it onto the podium here.
Yeah, I think that looked like one of the best triple axels she's ever done in competition. And I think she was having trouble with it in warm up as well. So the fact that she's been able to kind of regain that and get it back on track when she didn't have it at the beginning of this season, it's definitely a good job there.
And I like her weird costume. It's
yes, so do I.
Is it really that weird?
Like it. I don't think it's that weird. Just a lot of people seem to not like it.
I don't like. I mean, in the grand scheme of skating, it's not.
Yeah.
I get what people are saying. It's like the purple, the dead zebra, the whatever. But like, I don't know. I don't mind a hodgepodge of colors and clashes that don't seem to work at first, but then I guess your eyes eventually adjust. I don't mind the costume. I like it too.
She's a little bit of like a quirky person, and I feel like it fits in with that quirkiness of her, that she doesn't just blend into the same, everyone just, sort of generically pretty. Like she does something that makes her stand out.
Agreed. And isn't it okay, no, that wasn't. For some reason, okay, when I first saw this program, I'm like, okay, what is this outfit? I'm like, maybe she's like, I thought at first, seeing it the first time this year, I was like, oh, it's like Cruella de Vil maybe, and she's like a designer, and it's just like a mash of different swatches and fabrics. And then it turned out not to be that at all. But I'm always a fan of Rinka. Sorry, not Rinka. Yeah, I don't know. I'm happy to see again, like you said. I think that was her best triple axel to date. Like usually, it's kind of, even if she lands it, it's like closer to the ice. It always seems like it could be a rotation call, but this one had like height and a little bit of room to spare too. So it was definitely some of the best I've seen. And is she on the world team for Japan? I know I should know this, but I don't know. No.
It's Monet Kaori and Hana Yoshida.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
It's so hard because you could, you think, oh, well, she could easily, be on a world's podium, world's top 6, and she's not going to be there. It's always challenging, but
yeah. And when you can be like if you win Japanese nationals, you're like set up to like win the whole world championship. Maybe here in Canada. No offense to us. So.
Gonna jump randomly since you said that. That I was very happy though to see Maddie Schizas be able to put together 2 good programs here. Like they're, she's capable of even more than that, but like this was the first time that we've seen her be able to do like very solid programs for both. So I was really happy for her for that.
Yeah, it's been a tough year for her, and like it's just been a hit or miss. And I know that the free program, even since last season, has been the one that's really escaped her. So it is always really nice to see her come out and skate the way that she does train free programs. Because I will say, in these past this past year with her training, especially for the free program, it's been very consistent. So whenever she's gone out and done something that isn't to her caliber, like nationals, Canada was good. Second one wasn't as good, but it's always a little bit,
yeah.
You've been there, like you're like, oh, I can do this every day, and then when you get to camera lights action, it's just not the way it's set up. So I'm happy to see that she was able to deliver these 2 programs. I still really wish that like her skating skills have improved a lot. I think that she could even have more command over this, because it's growing and it's getting better. But I always want to see her give more. And actually, she turns it on more at competition, and she really thrives under pressure. Like when she's anxious, she seems to perform better. And then she definitely performs way better when she's mad. And so I think Nationals left her with, she was cool about it, but I know on the inside she's like, no mas, not again, I can't. So I'm hoping this continues all the way into Worlds in Montreal.
Yeah, I think the short program is a great vehicle for her because she can put that personality and that drive and that anger and all of that, can be expressed and expressing her, in the personality through that vehicle. The free skate, she has to sort of transfigure that somehow into the expression. But yeah, it was great. And I was sorry for the other Canadians to not be able to get the world minimums here. It's just, it's so frustrating. And I was really hoping, I saw Justine skate at Autumn Classic earlier this year, where she did so well and seemed like so just relaxed and confident and everything. And I really enjoy. I think it's very funny that they both have Evanescence programs. I don't know what's in the air. Of Evanescence going on, but I thought it was really fun. So I was really rooting for her to have that performance here, but it's just, it was unfortunate. So we're still all of the eggs in
one basket.
All of the eggs in the money basket.
And there are some really good juniors out there, but obviously they're just juniors. Like Hetty Shee, although she was senior this year.
Love Hetty Shee.
She isn't. Yeah, she's got such great pop. Obviously, she needs more refinement, but she's only 14, 15 around there. And then Lulu. I actually only watched her after nationals because I was just like, oh, who are they sending to Junior Worlds? And I looked up her Junior Grand Prix in Poland, and I love her. Yeah. Just love her energy. I love her energy.
She's a great performer.
Yeah. And I'm hoping, those will be the future, because I think also with Canada, I think they can. I don't know why they don't send more people out to just try and get that score. Because I think even Lulu only had the one international this season.
I think she had been injured earlier on in the season. Why she had a later start.
Okay.
But yeah, I think they just gave one assignment to pretty much every junior.
Yeah.
Which is
$1 million question. And if I was going to ask you if you knew, but I feel like this is the question that we all have, is just why Canada doesn't take more advantage of sending skaters to international opportunities. It seems like there are much smaller federations that send their skaters to a lot more places, and there must be a strategy, I'm assuming, somewhere, but figure out what it is.
I literally couldn't tell you, because many of us here will also be sitting here scratching our heads on like, what is the strategy? Is there anyone? Like, I don't understand, because it's one to have them be talented and be able to do the technical abilities and maybe have like a decent quality of skating when you're monitoring them, but then we all know that it takes, like, in the time that it takes to develop those things, like your skating skills, your stage presence, it also takes it takes time to create that competitive adaptability and confidence. So you have to like invest in sending them out, and you gotta like just, I don't know, money. I mean, money is always a thing for every federation, especially now. But I don't know. I don't have the answers for you, because being at Milton with Maddie when she didn't get any junior Grand Prix her whole junior career, And then all of a sudden, she became like the golden girl, and now you got to compete junior and senior, and we're going to send you to as many events as possible so you can get the
hold
world
down the
score.
team and all of everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, it's great to be the one up there, but there's no padding, there's no depth for the international circuit for Canada, especially in the women, and it's clearly the place where we're lacking the most. So I don't know, and maybe they're hedging their bets and being like, okay, like if we send them, is it going to be worth it? And blah 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 blah. But I would say that there's, I don't know, quite a bit of value on that as well because they need it.
Yeah,
and it's starting to get. I was going to say, it's starting to get a bit dicey for the men as well. So I've been looking at. So I know Roman's just had his first international since like last season. He did not get his short minimum. Obviously, he has his minimums already. But going into next season, if I assume he'll be named to the world team because Conrad didn't do very well here. But if he doesn't get his minimum at Worlds, he goes into next season only having his free skate minimum and doesn't even have his short minimum. So, like, it's getting dicey with the men as well.
Yeah, I would agree, and then, you know, I feel bad for him because it was just like
so unlucky this year.
After delay, no skates for you. Here comes a hurricane and snow, and then it was, and then at first when I was watching him at nationals, I was just like, come on, my guy, like we really like. And then I had to remember that this was his very, very first competition of a season after an injury. And, you know, he came here and did pretty well. But I think it's like looking nationally, there are some good men like Alexa Rakic. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Sorry, Alexa. Oh my gosh, who's the other one? I mean, I love Anthony Parody so much. He's just so unique. Like, he was a highlight for nationals for me when it was kind of a sad nationals. But you know, he needs a little bit more of the technical firepower. But what he doesn't have there, he makes up in his just crazy singularity as a skater. So, but I think there's depth in both fields. I just think that we haven't tap the tree on it yet.
And I could understand the strategy, you know, like for example, for the junior Grand Prix of like send a lot of skaters to one rather than because you knew that very few of those skaters weren't necessarily in medal contention or contention for the finals. So spread that around and see how everybody does. Like that made sense to me. But I think when you're starting to talk about seniors and you're talking about, you know, all of these things that have such broader implications. The other question, I guess, that I would have for, you know, for the Federation or whoever is just why not have, you know, host a senior B in Canada at some point in the season, like, you know, like this time of year, let's say, because sure, it costs money to host competitions, but like, you know, something on that scale, not that much, and then you would save money on, you know, sending your skaters abroad, but the Americans would come, the people who train in the US and Canada would come, and you'd still get an international and give another opportunity. So I don't know why, you know, there isn't something like that done too.
Especially because they're sending so many to like Cranberry Cup, which is like one of the first competitions of the season, and most of them are not really ready like to be properly competitive at that point.
Like that made sense to like send everybody there, like, you know, make everybody sort of C team from the US and Canada run up against each other in that space, but then like host your own later. I don't know. Anyway, that was the, you know, the comparison that I was thinking about. You know, it was an event like that or an event like, you know, we just watched, you know, there's Challenge Cup or there's the Bavarian Open or there's all of these things that happen at this point in the season. Like they don't have to be elaborate competitions, and sometimes it helps to have those opportunities. So, and
Daniel is saying send everyone to the Dennis 10 Memorial Cup.
They have to be very strategic about where they send people from now, because like Dennis 10, everyone gets like inflated scores. Send all the dance teams to like Bosphorus Cup, because apparently that's the competition where everyone is just going to get high scores even though they've never got those scores anywhere else before. So just
And it's
send them all
also a
out to
confidence boost to the skaters. I like, as much as we want the scores to be real, I want a little boost too. Like it's it's cold and hard out there.
I know, and it's true. And they send everyone to Challenge Cup, but Challenge Cup is therefore full of all of the top skaters, and so it's
everyone trying to get their minimums for Worlds.
Circling back to the not Canadian women, I did want to also talk about Ava Ziegler, who did so well here.
Yes.
And I'm very impressed with her and her ability to rein in her her huge but sometimes chaotic jumps. Like, she looks so well trained here, and it kind of made sense of the decision to not go to nationals. I mean, I still think that's a weird choice, but it's.
She wasn't at nationals. I didn't know that.
Yeah, she withdrew the
withdrew
week before
from
and said she was
nationals.
focusing on 4 continents.
Oh.
Yeah.
So she basically forgoed a chance to be on the world team to go to 4 continents instead.
Yeah.
Because she could have potentially beaten Isabel or Amber with those skates that they had.
Yeah.
She could have won US nationals if she'd had those
Yeah.
there. So, but like, I see that, she's really shown what she can do in an international field, like all of that, but it's still an odd choice.
Yeah, for sure. That is, yeah. I didn't really. I watched. I only watched the Isabeau Levito and Amber Glenn's free skates. I didn't really watch, so I didn't even look at the results. I didn't really notice that she wasn't there.
Yeah.
I just assumed when I didn't see her in the top 4, I'm like, oh, must have been a bad skate. But no, she's just like, skip it. All right.
I'll 2 weeks back to back. I'm just gonna go this one instead.
I mean, but I loved her breakout season, coming out of essentially, I think she was 9th at nationals, somewhere there last year. And then to come and win one of the biggest events in the ISU Grand Prix series, which is NHK, is pretty monumental. So, a good top 4 finish here is, I think, solidifies her for, I guess, the next season, considering I guess it's over for her now, unless she gets another little after senior B. But
it's like, unless she decides, unless somebody withdraws, but I don't think she's even been named as the first alternate. So I don't know.
They haven't named them yet. I think that's due on the 8th, if I'm correct. And I think she'll probably be first alternate. I would imagine she would after that performance. I'd be surprised.
Yeah. And then the skater that seems like, did the opposite thing and then suffered from it was Lindsay Thorngren, who was coming in off of an injury, went to nationals, didn't skate that well at nationals, then went here, didn't skate that well here, and now is kind of in a tough position, I think, because even though, at the beginning of the season, we would have said that Lindsay was kind of more in the ascent than Ava was, but it's been tough, and that's, again, it's like that she's injured, so it's not like that's her fault that it's not all working out, but it was tough to see. It made me think that she might have been better off to have withdrawn from 4 continents.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been absolutely loving her ascension, and I really love that. Is it the free program that has the green dress?
That's the short program. That's the windmills of your mom.
Yes, I am obsessed with that program. I love watching Lindsay skate, and she's just grown so much. And it's always amazing to see, obviously, the Black woman as well, be so in the top of figure skating. But yeah, I just love it. I think as well, kind of my main complaint about Cheon Kim, it's that she always looks a little almost worried about what she can do. There's always kind of this face of like,
Mhm.
but I don't like. I feel like the girl, you're here and you can do all these things. Just like pull it all the way up. But other than that, again, these are nitpicky things for me, and this like that would bring me even further into the performance. But I really think that she's holding her own, and I think sometimes she even gets a little bogged down in the second mark when I think she should be rewarded a little bit more.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, she has some things that a lot of skaters try and look awkward doing. She just does and makes them look effortless. Like she has a sort of a like a catch foot spiral that like starts on one side of her head and comes down. It's in both programs, and she does it and it makes it look wonderful. And then because I noticed that with her, then I see it when I see other people doing it, but kind of like dropping their foot partway through, or it doesn't look as good. I'm just like, you know, the quality of some of those movements were really fantastic. But yeah, I agree with Laura in saying that she should keep the short program for another season. I'm on that page. I think she could keep growing with it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I'd love to shout out Sue Han Ting, who I've been a fan of for like the last couple of seasons, and she had such a great week here coming in 10th, and she's so not rewarded on the PCS mark, which I think she should be, and it's obviously because she's a small third skater. And hopefully, because now she has her world minimums back, she will make the free skate at Worlds this time, because I'm still angry about the time that she didn't.
Yeah, she's so talented. I'm very excited that she's starting to get a little bit more attention, and I really want to see her get more into the conversation, and a little more recognition from judges would be great.
Shout out also to Hae-In Lee. Didn't have a very, I think, I don't want to make anything up, but I think she said she'd received like news before coming in and was considering withdrawing, or I think she didn't say anything more than that, but obviously a very difficult competition for her, and you know, our full support for whatever it is that she's going through.
And there's still a lot of fight from her in the free skate, even though it didn't go well. She kept trying as hard as she could to deliver and get as many points as she could on the board, but it just wasn't her competition.
Yeah. I also really, even though I really liked her Sirens short program, I do like this more I can't think of the like cabaret kind of short program that she's switched to. I think it would be fun to see like what she could do with that when she's, you know, her normal self. So I don't know if she'll keep it or what she's gonna do with it, but I think that's really fun. And then just the other skater I feel like we should just mention was Mai Mihara, who was unfortunately did not have a great competition. It's always still so much fun to see her, but I was sorry to see her kind of get buried here a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it was so brilliant to see her last season, like winning everything after all that she's had to endure her whole career. And so it was like, I was excited to see her continue that trajectory, but, you know, unfortunately injury and everything. But, you know, she even went to nationals, like saying that, or no, she went, first one was NHK, right? Then when she came back, but it was not a good conference. But
yeah,
I think she just talked about wanting to push through or just kind of show up and really skate because of how frustrated she was for not being able to perform. And even though it wasn't a great event for her, she still where did she end up actually here?
Seventh.
Not horrible.
Yeah, she's not bad.
Yeah.
Also, quick shout out to Hong Yi Chen, because she's obviously been missing from the international stage for a little time, and she's such a beautiful skater. I'm sad she didn't manage to get her world minimums here. Obviously, I don't think any Chinese woman has her minimums for worlds now, so there won't be a representative. But if she hadn't have had so many rotation calls in the free, she would have probably got it. But it's lovely to see her back. She's such a stunning skater.
Yeah. And I also just want to give a little shout out to Sophie, Lexi, Jacqueline, Frank. I do not know which of those names, if any, is the one that she goes by, but so I'm just going to give her all of them. But I really enjoy her Spice Girls short program with her like pink sparkly crop top. It's giving me so much joy, and so I was glad to see her make the free skate, and just it was nice.
I have to add this to my list. I did not watch Sophia, Lexi, Jacqueline, Frank. I love a multi-name. Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, that's like me. I have too many names, but I love it. Okay, and you said Spice Girls. Yeah, it's on the list.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah. Now, which Spice Girl song is it? This is important.
It's Spice Up Your Life, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stop right now as well, I think.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's
okay.
It's a little medley, but yeah, no, it's good. It's good. It's fun. Yeah, and that's one of the things I really enjoy about Four Continents is sometimes we see some of the skaters that we might not otherwise see at competition, and so it was fun. I always do enjoy the first groups when we get more of those skaters.
Agreed.
Oh, and the con. Oh, wait, who? So you guys, I'm assuming you guys know of the Contours. Is this one of their sisters? Young girl?
Oh, I don't know. Lois, do you know about her?
What was the question? I was lagging out
like
briefly.
There's been like several. Like I think there was definitely two sisters that competed, the Contours, from Mexico. Way back when.
I'm not sure actually.
And I'm wondering if this is the third generation.
I know she's been competing a while, but I don't know. If she has any sisters.
Yeah, I'm taking a quick look, and she does not have anything in her ISU bio about it, but
there was that. Okay.
Interesting. Yeah. So if that is the case, it has not yet been reported. Yeah. Anything else from the yeah.
I was just going to say I'll move on to the men's, and we can always circle back at the end as well.
Shall I take this one? I don't know if we arranged anything.
Yeah.
I'll take it. So in the first place, we have Yuma Kagiyama, second Junhwan Cha, and third Shun Sato. I'm very happy with this podium, personally. Great to see Jun back and deliver great skates. Kagiyama, I think, has maintained his momentum and has put out just amazing performances pretty much all of this season. And again, just happy for Shun as well to be able to put out a strong skate. I think sometimes he's a bit hit and miss, but it came together here, which was very nice to see.
We have the medals backwards here. We should point out that it was Shun with the silver and Jin with the.
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't even notice.
But that was the free skate order, but not the ultimate order.
Yeah,
somebody shouts at us for that.
For me, I copied and pasted in the wrong order. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Yeah, when Yuma first came onto the scene the year before the Olympics, me and Dylan would just we were obsessed with him. Anytime he would do any of his jumps, it's like he gets picked up and then the hand of God like spins him around and then places him back on the ice. Like there's a pause in the air, like his bones are hollow. I just love everything about him. And he's got his quad flip. I know he stepped out of it here in free program, but like he's, even coming back from injury, he's got new toys to play with. His skating skills, his emotion towards the music and skating with it, it's just, and especially doing that free program after Adam Shalhem did such an amazing job with it last year for that short program, which I'm still obsessed with that step sequence, like the head banging.
Yeah.
It held its own, and I think obviously it's going to be tough to win at Worlds, but I think for him it's just him just coming back to, and like you could see how surprised he was at hitting 200. Like I wasn't, but it's just always just amazing to see him, and I think he was sorely missed by me in the early start of last year in the season. So yeah, happy to have him back for sure.
He's on such a
It's
good
almost like, yeah, I was gonna say it's almost like he's never been away. Like he just got straight back into like elite, like top level. And if you'd have told me he'd have skipped last season because of an injury, I wouldn't have believed it.
No, 100%. Like just Grand Prix final, it's fine. No, not missing a beat. Medal at the Grand Prix final, it's fine. That just goes to show. I mean, everyone here has work ethic, but like it's just whatever his father's doing with him, Costner, he's again, and to come back from an injury and be elevated, not just start where we left off is a big testament to his team.
And to join the 300 club with only 3 quads in the free skate it really sets him up in a great position to challenge at Worlds.
Yeah. He's just so fast too. Gosh. Like I mean, the way he just steps right through like the heels of his blades when he's doing like forward cross cuts to like gain like maximum speed. It's pretty incredible. I love. Yeah. I can go on and on and on and on about the superhuman man, but he's great.
I said this before. Now I'm actually now I'm cautious after I found out that one skater had already heard me talking about why I didn't like their programs, and now I'm cautious about saying I don't like anyone's programs. But I do kind of agree with Laura that not my favorite music choices, but it's still so much fun to watch him. I love his Young Werther exhibition skate. It's so beautiful and just has so much emotion in it. And so like I would love to see him go a little bit more in that direction for a competitive program at some point. But it's like nitpicking. It's like I love it, so give me more of it, not that there's something wrong with it right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I Imagine Dragons is also not my favorite. It's just a genre. I mean, they're not a genre, but as I don't know. There's something about them their music that I don't particularly like, but I don't. Anuma, I will forgive most.
It gives me that short program just kind of gives me like a junior Grand Prix like vibes, and I want him to. I think his skating is beyond that. He's wringing every good thing you could out of that music, but it just seems like he could be past it by now.
Yeah.
So I'm so incredibly happy for Shun. I think his PCS elevation this year has been a complete turnaround from who he's been as a skater in the past, and I don't think he was necessarily getting rewarded for that in the first half of the season. And I think he started to get a little bit despondent, thinking, what more do I have to do to kind of get the results like everyone else does? And I think this is a great way for him to like finish off his season.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like his skating a lot, and I feel like I've enjoyed both of these programs. They've been just great vehicles for him to show how much he has improved. And I felt a little bit bad for, less so for him, but for him earlier in the season, a little bit with Soda here, that they're incredibly talented and they're just not quite getting up into that very top level. And it's so tough with the being such a intense, just such an intense domestic competition and overall the men's field right now, that some of these skaters that are incredibly talented and skating very well are still not, necessarily in our frame for worlds or for winning titles or any of that. And just it's the embarrassment of riches kind of problem that we're having with some of these men. So I hope that they can be inspired and not discouraged by that level of competition.
Yeah, it seems like they all really thrive on how good the other skater is doing as well. And that chart program was, for the last two groups almost, actually, were pretty amazing. And with Shun, you can definitely see he's really trying to explore his his space, his movement. The thing that I would say with him is that, and you see it often in the men's, especially, like there are some, although you have to reward everybody for what they bring to the table, because not everyone's body's built the same. You really have to, and I think there should be a way to acknowledge and reward that. But some things are real basics. Like you got to stretch your free leg on some movements. You got to finish off. If you're going to extend, you got to extend. I find sometimes with that in his programs, that's what I'm looking for. And again, spin positions aren't always the best either for me.
Yeah.
I think he struggles a little bit with some kind of flexibility stuff there, but I think he was on fire. All of his quads are pretty money. I think the only mistake he made was a little kind of spread eagle step out thing on a triple loop, but I think I'm happy he had such a good season. And again, like you said, would you say something, the spoil of riches, the riches of whatever?
Yeah, it's like the embarrassment of riches. Yes, I think it's we're spoiled by having so many great.
Okay, yes, I think we are very spoiled, and this is only 4 continents. We were also treated at Europeans, and so I think Worlds in the men's event is going to be very, very stunning. I'm excited for it, especially with Junhua also coming back after not so great end to his Grand Prix season, and
I really enjoyed this men's event because there were so many great skaters, but no one that I was feeling super intensely emotionally attached to. And so I was just whoever wins, this is going to be great. I just hope everyone skates really well. And that was a nice sort of way to just sit back and watch and enjoy. Whereas I think we're going to get to Worlds and I'm going to have strong feelings and get nervous for people and everything. So that
the tribalism comes in.
Yeah. Sometimes it's nice to be able to say I like a lot of these skaters. I was super happy with the podium, but there was another 3 or 4 skaters that if they had made the podium, I also would have been happy for them. So it was just it was a nice way to feel relaxed about it as a viewer.
For sure.
I was very thankful John did not go for the 2 quad short program, because that terrifies me with him, because his sal is so good and then the toe is so unreliable and so inconsistent. And I'm just please just don't do it right now. Please don't.
I at first I didn't like this Batman program. It's free. Maybe because I don't like that. Did you guys watch the Batman movie with Zoe Kravitz? Okay, well they use that it's very emo. It's all the Batman movies are super emo. His parents have passed away and he's just whatever. But a brooding billionaire. But they kept using that like song all over and over in like, and I know it's a score, but it's just, it sounds like, what was that? It was really popular with figure skating, especially after the Kerrs used it. Muse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like that kind of sound, that like kind of droning, whiny thingy. But eventually it grew on me as the season went on, even though he wasn't performing as well. But yeah, again, Junwan is also like one that you just like anything you kind of do, you do it well. So I will like it.
I do, yeah, I did like his Bond program better, and I'm also not a huge fan of Masquerade Waltz, even though I think he does like again, it's like he does a great job with it. It's like music that it gets stuck in my head, and then I'm annoyed that it's stuck in my head. So that's really this is my problem with it. It's really just that it gets too annoying.
Yeah, those classical skating musics that will never die. We've done several videos on music to never use again, and like it's not that I hate these pieces of music. They're staples for a reason, and I know as skaters come up, and they are looking for new music, they hear this powerful piece of music and they're like, yes, I've never heard this before. It's amazing. Can I skate to this? You're like, I guess. Yeah. But it's I agree.
Ever tell a student, like when you're choreographing, or you ever tell students like, no, not allowed. You can't use this one.
I really try not to. I'll like stir them away from the music. Like I have a deep, incensed hatred for Romeo and Juliet. I really, really do. I really, 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 really do. Let those 12-year-olds rest in peace. It's a weird.
All the versions, or just a specific version?
All of them.
All of them.
Leonardo DiCaprio to the actual stage play. I don't want to see the Capulets march in. I don't want to. I do think that so many people have done it, and to do it now and to do it well is very special, because you have to really set yourself apart from everyone in every discipline who's ever done it in such a beautiful way. So I think if you can do it where it's like notable and I'm enjoying it, like for example, the junior or seniors, Nadia Bashynska and Peter Beaumont, I think they do a really lovely job as a kind of an up and coming team with it. But it like hurts.
The one exception that I would make to that would be the program that Satoko Miyahara did at Japan Open this year, which was gorgeous and it was a very classical version of a Romeo and Juliet, and just she can do no wrong in my eyes. So okay.
Well, Satoko can do whatever. She can skate to the chicken dance, and I'm like, that was moving. It was a revelation. Like, no, like yeah. But she's Satoko. I literally just, I've never met anyone so diminutive, but like can expand an entire arena like the one in Shanghai. Like she's my faves.
Yeah, personally, I am so sick of hearing Exogenesis, and I'm so sick of hearing Experience, and I just need to not hear those pieces of music anymore. And Dawn of Faith is becoming like that as well. Everyone is using Dawn of Faith, and it's driving me up the wall.
Yeah, Dawn of Faith and the like Mozart version that's in the video game that I'm blanking on what that. But there's a couple that have been like these just in the last couple seasons, but suddenly everyone is using them.
Everyone's using them.
I was very happy that Jimmy Ma changed his program away from it too. I was just like, yes, give me something different. Even if it is Phantom of the Opera.
Phantom.
Another one, a creepy man who lives in a basement. He was like, I love you so much. Come live your life with me in the catacombs. It's a weird musical, and it's just been touchy many
There's so
times.
many war horses where the woman dies as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like the amount of war horses we have where just the woman dies at the end. I'm just like, oh. If a man die once.
I know, right? They're the ones who usually die in war. Come on.
So then you're. Speaking of Romeo and Juliet, Wesley did quite well here. I was pleased for him.
Yes, he did. I love Wesley. I sometimes hear critiques about his skating that I just really don't agree with. I think he's really improved in his presence, even when he does make mistakes, and he's been inconsistent. He's still working on it. I think slowly and surely, and this was a good competition for him. But I like even when he faces those mistakes, he never lets it read on the program. Like at nationals, I think he had like a 3 mistake program, but he just keeps the energy, keeps the finesse and the small details really held together. I really like Wesley. He's also just a nice person too, but yeah, I really like his skating.
Yeah, I feel like seeing him in person a few times this year really helped me like grow into being a fan of his, that I feel like I could appreciate a lot of the qualities in his skating that I maybe just hadn't as much in the past. But yeah, I'm was really happy for him to do well here and to do well at nationals. I mean, I think he's been inconsistent, and it's nice for him to sort of be starting to lay down a bit more of a good competitive record.
I think he's someone that benefited from keeping a program for 2 years. He kept Vincent for 2 seasons, and although he didn't have like a lot of competitions in the first one, I think it was a good vehicle to be able to work on that performance side of things.
We've already had this fight, but I hate that music, so that's more what I would ban. So I had a little trouble. Maybe that's why I like Wesley more now, is that he's not skating to that music. I'm now connecting the dots, but
that music belongs to Piper and Paul for me. But he's Canadian. I'll let him have it.
Yeah. Plus, they had it like specially recorded and like instrumentation done by the band who covered it, so it was like really cool and elevated. That would be a music I wouldn't mind hearing one more time, but again, you'll have to make a comparison to Piper and Paul forever, which is great for them.
I am going to have to leave now. So just a quick shout out to Sota and Boyang Jin, 2 men who are also quite hit and miss, depending on the season, depending on the competition, but who did well here. So just a quick shout out to them, and then I'm going to have to leave.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, Toby.
Nice to meet you. Have a good day.
Bye.
Or evening.
Yeah, I think Boyang was very impressive here. I thought he might have been a little bit undermarked actually in the free skate. I've been very impressed with the growth he's had since he's moved to Canada to train.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I've always been, after the Spider-Man program, I was like sold. I loved it so much. He was one of my favorite skaters, and then I was like, yes, there's gonna be a Chinese man to like break through, and he was, and then injuries and all these different things. Still the biggest quadlets ever, so it's really good to see him starting to, I don't want to say crawl is not the word at all, but I can't think of another one, like back into the ranks and back into our faces, back into our minds. I'm always happy to see him like hitting the ice after the tough times he's had getting back here. So
we're getting a whole career from him almost. It's like he seems like he's become a very different skater in some ways, and just I love seeing that he's sticking with it to make this comeback.
Yeah, because it's not because
So-
he's been around for so long too, and that's not easy to, especially in free skate. Sorry, that's a, my camera. And it's not easy in free skate with now you need. I mean, when he was coming up too, and when he was like right in our fresh in our minds, it was like you could win worlds with a 2-3 quad program. Now they're like 5, please, 4. Like, so to come back after everything he's been through, and to keep up with the Joneses in the men's event is very admirable, and I can't wait to see him grow more and see him at Worlds.
Yeah, I saw the stat that he was the oldest man at 26 to land the quad lots, and I was like, is that true? Like, we end up calling all the like aging skaters uncles. Is Boyang an uncle now?
Yeah, I guess so. Oh gosh, yeah, I know. It's one of my. It's like I hate it in skating that you're like, oh, it's 23, they're an elder, but then it's, but the kind of petty shadiness of it is what I find funny, although it's ageist. But but it's it makes my skin crawl. And then meanwhile, you'll have like pairs and ice dancers who will have longevity forever.
Yeah. Marco Fabri in the press conference at Europeans was, so how does it feel to be the oldest man ever? And then the person asking the question, like, mic cut off briefly. It's supposed to be like the oldest man ever.
Just the oldest man ever.
The oldest man ever.
You beat Methuselah. How does it feel?
Which of course cracked everybody up, including him. But
I'm pretty sure it was after US Nationals that Camden was labeled as a veteran. He's like, I'm a veteran now.
Oh, Camden Polkman?
Yes.
Oh wow.
He was like, oh my god.
Isn't he only like 21, 22 or something like that?
Yeah, I think he's 23 now, I want to say, but he's
he's like, I'm a veteran.
I thought I was just starting out.
Yeah.
It's like I'm at university. How am I a veteran?
Yeah, I know, right? I'm not even a senior yet. Oh wow. Yeah, that's great. Well, thank God I'm out.
I just want to give a shout out to Andrew Torgashev, who I thought did very well here. It's a nice way for him to finish out his season. And then to, going further down in the list, I just seem to be picking all of the Filipino skaters, but I really enjoy Adrian Celestino. And like every time that I see him, I think he's just really fun. He's been improving as well. And so doesn't have world minimums, but I was glad to see him do pretty well here. Yeah. So that's my recommendation for if you didn't watch the first groups, would be to go back and watch him.
Also, shout out to Danielle. Oh my gosh. No. Where did he finish? 14? Sorry, Donovan. Oh my gosh.
Donovan, yes.
Yeah, he trains at a rink I coach at Thornhill with Mike and Jonathan, and he's really, really improving. He's had a pretty good year this year on his Challenger Series. I believe he won his last one actually before.
I think he won something, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it's always great to see. His skating skills are actually very, very nice as well. He's got such great quality and softness to his edges and cross cuts. I like his Justin Timberlake Madonna short program. Really high energy. So I'm assuming. I think he has his minimums.
Yes, he does now. He's going to be at Worlds, and I really want to see him and Nikita Starostin do a like NSYNC Backstreet Boys like duel. They both have sort of programs with slightly similar vibes this year, and so I'm enjoying that.
Let's rig the draw.
Nikita's is a free skate, so we will. So that you couldn't quite get them.
Ah, darn. All right.
It's okay. They could do a little like reprise, like put them both in the gala, like make something that would be.
At the very least, if we have Lucas Bridgsky's gala, everyone can join in and have.
Yes, exactly.
Also, I love Mikhail Shvedorov as a skater. He had a terrifying landing on one of his jumps in the free skate, I think, where I almost thought he was going to break his ankle. I don't know how he managed to like not get injured on that and still continue doing a great skate after that. I was like, I don't know how your ankle is still in one piece.
Sorry, who was that?
Mikhail Shvedorov.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah. There was an awful landing on one of his jumps, and I was like, oh my god, is your ankle all right?
Yeah,
he just carried on as if nothing happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't think it was really the result he wanted. I think he wanted to do a bit better, but he's got so much potential. Like, so his technique is amazing most of the time.
And what I really like about him, and there's only two skaters that really do it for me right now, is I feel like it doesn't happen as often. Like the surprise out of nowhere jump. Like he sets up his quads. Even still, his quads don't have a huge setup, which I really like. But just like helicopter triple flip. I think Momola in Italy does that really well. I find it's like a little more rare now. Because I think at this level, like if it's not even on your quads, I think now it's just that they've been in the zeitgeist of skating for so long that there can be, and I know I'm asking for a lot, like I can do a quad, but it just seems like I really want that extra level of just unexpected. I want that difficulty on difficulty. So I really appreciate that, and I think he's going to be a dark horse for Worlds, at least for the top 5 for sure.
Yeah, I think that's would be a good challenge for choreographers too, because I sometimes think about how even, I think about this often in the short, for the women in the short program, with everyone has their double axels, and so they're always trying to do elaborate choreography or elaborate footwork into them, but it's not always choreography. It's often sort of difficulty for the sake of putting a difficult entry in, and then there are a few who really do it in a way that the jump feels like it's part of the choreography. And I feel like for a skater where their double axel is maybe an easy jump for them, would be a great challenge to think about, like how to try to really incorporate it in the choreography. There was somebody who, I'm trying to remember, someone did that this time and it really stood out to me, but since I can't remember who, it's not gonna watched a lot of skating since then, I guess.
Don't worry, sometimes it all blends together for me too, and then it almost blends together so much so I'm like, do I even know what I'm talking about anymore?
I was complaining a little bit this weekend about watching, trying to go from watching this to watching, trying to catch up on Youth Olympics and also watching the Bavarian Open, and having all 3 of them like running somewhat simultaneously. And I was just like, I don't know what competition I'm watching anymore. I can't remember who's where. Like,
you're definitely better than me.
Just kidding.
I want to shout out a couple of comments from Daniel saying 8 spots at Worlds for the Japanese men. That should sort everything out for us. On the older competitor side, Melissa saying Alyona Savchenko, who I'm still not sure, might randomly come back because she feels like it.
I mean, you never know with her.
Yeah, it's true. I shout out to her for just being able to just do that. I mean, especially after everything you've accomplished and still wanting to, and never knowing that what it might be. Like, you never know if you do make a comeback, who's going to be there? Are the results going to be the same? New partner, new this, and just still wanting to go for it.
I you could use that as a transition into pairs as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah. In gold, we have Diana Stellato Dudek and Maxime Deschamps. In silver, we have Riku Miura and Ryuichi Kiara. And in bronze, we have Ellie Cam and Danny O'Shea.
Yeah. This was kind of a messy pair event. I was sorry to say. There's so many. It was interesting because even though this was it's a smaller field than the other disciplines, almost the whole field was quite strong, but they were all also skating kind of messy this time. And so I feel like not too many really got to show everything that they're capable of, but it was still really great to see Riku and Ryuichi back. I feel like that was my number one takeaway, was that they don't look like they're full strength yet, but it's just so nice to have them back.
Yeah, and I like the new short program better than the old one. I didn't expect it to be like full kind of instrumental when I thought it was like Dare You to Move. I love that song, even though it's like pretty old. But I kind of maybe expected it to be kind of maybe half instrumental, half lyrical, and it's just like, it's kind of one note if you have it the whole way through like that. And I'm also still not a fan of the free skate. I really would like them to go outside of their bubble for different choreography next year. But it is really good to see them back.
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone, they're like a skater's like fan, like, you know what I mean? Every skater's a fan of them. Every audience member that watches skating, I believe, is a fan of them too. They just seem to have such respect for each other, their craft, and anytime even if it's like a messy program, their smiles, and they know they can just go back to the drawing board. And it was nice to hear Bruno say, "Well, you got to start somewhere," indicating that this is their first event back with Ryuichi's back injury.
Yeah.
I actually didn't watch the short program,
which made me laugh too.
Say that again.
He said that Bruno said to them, "You could just rest during the pair spin," which made me laugh too, because that's yeah.
Honestly, spins take so much effort. Like a pair, like free skate spin, yeah. You feel like a transformer, like doing 90 positions plus a difficult exit and everything. But just keeping the back muscles, the arm strength, it's one of the most exhausting elements, actually, I find. So I don't know where you would sleep, but
yeah. I don't know about that actually, but
yeah, you wouldn't want to. Like, I remember, I think it was like Shanghai Trophy where the spin went really wrong for Annika and Robert, and basically lost them a position in the standings and a nice sum of money. And I was like, yeah, definitely don't take a break during the spin. Like, it's worth a lot.
Yeah. That's one of the things that, in my mind, that sets pair teams apart. That like it's like the least appreciated element, but that the teams that are able to do something really really interesting, really high quality spins, I feel like that's gives me that like extra. It says to me that they have the confidence in their other elements that they were also willing to put in the time to like get the points in the spin, and I appreciate that when I see it. Also good to see, I feel like, Deanna and Max here with getting this first championship medal like this is exciting. And then I'm very interested to see where they go from here. Like, because are they going to be able to put it all together for like the clean skates at Worlds? I want to see it, and I'm also a little nervous for them because I feel like there's just like they want it so much, and there's that pressure. But
yeah, and I think as well, like it's just I can hear Dylan in my head because whenever we would do the show, like when it wasn't by myself, I'd be like, "Hey, Dylan, I didn't watch the pairs. This is like you're gonna take it," and he would film me. That's how I learned all my pairs and everything. It was just from him. but like I can hear him in my brain just being like, how are there so many pair skates where it's okay to, and I mean, like, yes, we know that the side by side isn't important, but like no one's nailing them. I think the only people who nailed their side by sides were Ellie and Danny and the Australian team, Hector and Anastasia. Everybody else is like falling out on their triple toe, popping an axle, doing this, and it's just like, okay, like I think you can't just rest on your, like, yes, the lifts are big marks, throws are big marks, but those side by side jumps, if you get them, like at this point, it should be a bonus for pairs because it's it's been so many wins and medal wins and like the top with, like, again, you don't have to be perfect. Skating is hard. It's just slippery. I get that, but it's just, yeah, it's just like a literal plague in the pairs event where no one's landing their side by side jumps.
I know, and it's been really rough. I was sorry to see, even the teams that I think that were starting out the season strong, like thinking about that with Leah and Trent, then they had good toes, but then I think that Trent's injured was what I remember seeing, that because they were going for like planned double loops, and so it's just like even some of the teams that we then look to have this as a strong element were struggling. So then that adds even more to, and then for Ellie and Danny, who, like, Ellie has been struggling somewhat with those side by sides, but then the fact that, I mean, it really shows like if they actually can put it all together and have a good skate, like between nationals and here, like they're ready to be, like, the judges are ready to reward them when they can put it all together. So
yeah, I agree. It's I know that, yes, Trent and Trent's injured with a back injury as well. So before they left, they're really trying to see what they could do to, still stay competitive at Four Continents without, being demoralized by results. But he really held it together. He still did quite well. It's too bad about the throw loop in the short program. But yeah, those double loops were planned and everything like that, just to reduce the stress on his back. I feel like the left off takeoff for the Sal was really bothering him. So hopefully when he gets back, they can really manage it so they can be full strength in the next few weeks as they head to Worlds.
Yeah.
And do you know why the change for the short program? Because you choreographed their short program, didn't you?
I did, yes, I did. So they were getting comments, which I don't necessarily agree with, but it's good to change things up anyways. That some judges were like, it's a bit one note for the program. And then as well as like they're still kind of crystallizing what their look is. So they're like, okay, maybe like a slower piece of music, and then they really liked the second half of the program. It was their favorite, so they wanted to still keep that version of it. So like, they just have the acoustic cover with now the pop version. I liked the high energy throughout because it didn't like start high energy all the way through. It was like build. It was like this, but I do like the silkiness of the first half. And I think, as we get more into, now that they're back after nationals, he's dealing with an injury, so they didn't want to just tweak too many things. Hopefully we'll have time to look at it and add more dimensions to it. But yeah, that was the reason for the change. They just got a lot of comments, and it's interesting to say for them, the judges, to say we're crystallizing. You need to crystallize your look but how do you know your look when if you're not trying other things, right? So
right. Well,
yeah.
I liked the short program. I still like it, but I liked it in its original form. I liked the costumes they had in their original form. I feel like one of the things that they have going for them is that they project this like image of being like two really strong, energetic people. And so like, yeah, maybe not as like it's always so super smooth and flowy, but like I feel like I enjoyed that the energy that they bring. I also enjoy that they, at least when I saw them at Skate America, they always had matching colors for their practice outfits, which they also gave me like, you know, we're a team, we have our team outfits, we're here, we're ready to go, like kind of sort of like varsity athlete vibe, and it was fun.
They're great to work with. I've known Trent for a little bit, competing with him and being on national team, and then working with Leah and with her free skate programs and coaching her for the past few years as a choreographer. It's always, they really are quite happy-go-lucky people, and Leah's just has such a infectious personality and positivity. Even when the days are going rough, we can see it wearing on her. She always comes back in with a renewed sense of self, and today's another day. And so I think they'll do well at Worlds. I think a little bit, just especially these last two events are kind of the nationals, and here were kind of the first times I've seen her go down on those throws. Yeah, so I think it's just a little blip.
Yeah, it can't all be smooth path to the top. So this is some learning experiences for them, I think. And I also we talked a little bit about the Australian team and how great they were here, and I thought they were just, from a technical perspective especially, so impressive. It was fun to see them, and fun in this kind of messy field to see a team that really be nailing all of those elements.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's the first time they've really done the program. Sorry, I think it's the first time they've really done the program to its kind of like full justice, because obviously they struggled a little bit on elements at the beginning of the season, but I think it's a very good program for them.
Do any of you think that they got kind of undermarked on the thing?
Yes.
Okay.
I think they should have been ahead of Ellie and Danny in the free. I think it's kind of shocking that they weren't. I think with the discrepancy from the short, I think Ellie and Danny would have still taken bronze, but I think they should have been ahead in the free.
Yeah, I was just looking at their scores, and it's really interesting seeing where their PCS is. Like there were judges that were putting them in, 4th or 5th in PCS, and there are judges that were putting them in 8th. And I felt like overall they're like, I would not say they're one of the stronger teams in terms of just that kind of the presentation or the complexity of their programs, but I felt like they were being undermarked in their GOEs. I thought like the quality of what they were doing was not getting the rewards that it should have. Like, I much prefer watching like Ellie and Danny than watching them as just like skaters, and they're gelling as a pair, and like some of those. So I think that was really getting rewarded. But if your one team is skating that well, it's hard to not. It feels like some of their elements were definitely could have been pushed higher. Yeah. I also love seeing Chang Peng back. I really enjoy that team. I think their programs are super interesting, and it makes me want. I was thinking while I was watching some of the Chinese pairs that I would love to see what a Lori Nickel program for Riku and Ryuichi would look like. Like in my sort of mix and match of people and styles, I think it would be really interesting to see what she could come up with for them. Because I think she's done some really interesting things with the pairs that she's worked with recently.
I like the ending of their free program, the little I'm the enchantress and just yeah. And like really good on him to keeping up with Cheng Peng, who's a phenom in her own right, and like I think they're a pretty good matching pair team, and I think they're just. I predict them doing really, really well at Worlds. Like I feel like they're just gonna be up in the mix all of a sudden, and no one's gonna see them coming. Like
I think they mentioned in the mix zone that they've had some injuries this year, so I think that's probably why. Because they kind of started slow and then got good really quickly, and then kind of petered off a little bit. So I think maybe if they hadn't had those injuries, maybe they would have already been. I predicted they could have been on the podium here, and obviously it was just a little bit too messy to get there at this point.
Canada only has 2 pair spots for Worlds, right?
We're gonna need to check that.
no, we have 3.
Do we have 3? Okay,
I think there's 3.
I'm Canadian. I was just going to say I really enjoy Kelly and Lauren and Luke at Thierry. I think, and they've really improved a lot this season. That it's been like hard for them to sort of break through, but I think the programs that they have this year are really fun, and she has so much like just pizzazz. I want to see her just become even more of a sort of the diva of those programs.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they're such lovely people to talk to. They're just really excited to always go out and do their best. They really high goals for themselves this year, just completing 2 good programs at every event that they could. Seeing them skate really well at nationals. I think, like you said, I want more from both of them. Like I think that I think they've always kind of struggled with their technical elements, especially the throws and the side-by-sides. It seems to be getting more under their belt, and once those big things are secured, that's when you can really start working on the connection, the skating skills, the way you do all of your moves, and that's what I really want to see from them so that they can grow and then hit that 120 mark in international.
Yeah. They were saying that I remember last year that they really felt like they were one of the teams that struggled during COVID, like in terms of not being yet on the international team and being able to have that training, and so that they were feeling like they were coming at it for a little bit like trying to catch up just in terms of training time and competition opportunities and all of that. So feeling like that's starting to pay off for them.
On the topic of Worlds, Laura says, so far every podium contender for pairs has struggled at some point this season, so Worlds will be very interesting.
It's kind of been hard for any team to have tons of momentum because they'll start strong and then fade a little bit, or they'll start weak and then they'll get a bit better, and it's hard to see where it's going to go.
And Amy sort of saying a similar thing, that it's interesting now that Europeans wasn't too clean either, so Worlds feels more open, because I definitely had like a team that I thought was going to win pretty easy at the start of the season, and now who knows.
I think there's at least 4 or 5 teams that could win, and maybe like 8 or 9 that could get on the podium, which is bonkers. But I love it, but I really hope we get some clean skates, and that people really like. It would be so wonderful, like with a field that open, if everyone could really skate well. That would be an incredible pairs event, and everyone has that potential. But I'm afraid that we may end up having it be like this, or like the way U.S. Nationals was, where it's like it's open, everyone's and it's messy all over the place. But I'm gonna try to keep positive thoughts toward the pairs at Worlds.
Yeah. Me too. I think we're just so used to being like, okay, there's the favorites. They really don't put a foot wrong, other than maybe a fall on a side by side occasionally. But this unpredictability does make it very fun. Even though we want those clean skates and everyone to do their best, it's it's always good to see potentially new faces on the podium. So yeah, I don't know. Because even for me, can I do a shout out thing? They're from America. Mark, they didn't do quite well here. Maximilio Fernandez and Valentina Balaz. I really, really, really love their short program. I know it's very, it's a classical piece of music, but their transitions, the difficulty they have into everything, they still really struggle with the elements and putting them together. But I think they should keep this program for another year if it hasn't made them frustrated too much, because it really is like, one thing with pairs is that sometimes the skating quality isn't so high, especially in the short program because it's so jam packed. But they managed to really put all this difficulty in these surprise lifts, these just great intricate skating. Like it looks like a nice kind of dance program with the pair elements in it, and I really really appreciate that, even though they didn't have a good time here.
Yeah, they're the team that I was watching with, with my heart in my throat, just like praying for them to hit the jumps because I love them so much. They're probably my favorite Paris team at this point, and it's hard because they're just, if they can't get the jump elements, they're just always going to hit that ceiling, even though everything else they do is so amazing. And I've seen them in practice improving. Like I think technically their jumps have improved a bit, but it's under that pressure that's just not happening. So it's rough. But I wasn't gonna mention them because I feel like every time they compete, I talk about how much I love them. So I was gonna give it a rest. But since you brought it up, yes.
Join me. Yeah, no, I really, really love their skating, and that short program I think is super special, and I could see it, if it delivered cleanly, really like arousing the crowd, and just, yeah, you could feel that emotion that could arise from a good skate in that program.
And even though I am not a huge fan of the Top Gun music and stuff, they give so much emotional presence to it that even by the end of that program, I'm like, yes, like hold the hand to do the big lift, like all of that. So I really enjoy. I feel like they care a lot about the artistic and emotional side of their skating, and it really comes through. And so I hope the rest of it can all come together and we can really appreciate that.
And we will move into ice dance. So in gold was Piper Gillis and Poirier, in silver was Laurence Fournier-Baudry and Nico Sorensen, and in bronze was Christina Carrera and Anthony Ponomarenko.
I found this to be very interestingly judged ice dance event. I think some teams were a little bit overscored.
I think once Chuck and Bates had withdrawn, it was like we knew Piper and Paul were going to win. The question was by how much, and then their scores, I guess.
Yeah, like it's a solid lead. It's not like as huge as, say, it could have been, and it's not the season's best score for them here. But yeah, it's interesting because this obviously helps build momentum into Worlds, and there's a lot of compliments about their Wuthering Heights free skate here, free dancing. I've never been fully on board with the program all season. It's not that I don't like it. It's just that there are other programs that have captured me more. I think it's a very good vehicle for them. It's just I don't know what about it that's just missing for me. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it. I haven't been able to watch all of the free dance, because of like time zones, which are always fun to figure out. But yeah, I'll add it to my table.
Hi. Sorry.
Amy saying that she loves the Wuthering Heights free dance, and Melissa's saying that they enjoyed Zinga Lesnick and Legat Lorient, which I think leads us to this and the question I know
I'm
Lois
so
has.
confused. Yes, I don't know if you can answer me this question, Asha. I don't know why their lift was given a base level and why they got an illegal element 2 deduction.
Who is this for?
Marie Jade, Lauren, and Roman the Gag. So they got a base level rotational lift and a -2 for an illegal element move, and I don't understand it. And usually I figure it out, and I don't. I've seen someone say that it's like because she was in an upside down position and potentially like in a split move, but I don't understand how that's considered a split move because she has like one leg straight and one leg bent, so I don't understand how that's a split. So I don't know why that's.
Oh, this is in the rhythm dance.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I'll have to go rewatch it. I have to remember the lift. Because to be honest, I always watch their free dance. I actually haven't. I've watched I've watched their rhythm dance maybe twice. If that's bad, but I'm trying to think of the lift. Hold on, I'm gonna look at it. If you want my professional opinion, I want to just say bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they've changed the position since they competed last. I don't think they've ever got that deduction before. They've got deductions for like other things. Like last year, they kept getting a deduction for like doing a mini lift in their character step, and I understood that. But yeah, I don't. This was very interesting to me, especially considering I'm pretty sure David Molina was on the tech panel, and when that happens, there's usually some favoritism or leniency to the Ice Academy of Montreal skaters. That's just a thing people notice. So it's interesting. I thought maybe more generous to some teams than others. Like I personally think Komatsubara and Kalido were overscored in the rhythm dance, at least not in the free dance. In the rhythm dance, I thought they were overscored. Considering how close they were to the other Japanese teams at nationals, and they just were sailing out ahead of them here. So yeah, I think there was some very interesting judging going on in this competition.
What is this lift? Give me the lift. Sorry, I'm looking at it. That's not it.
I also thought the illegal move deduction was it illegal element? Illegal element.
Yeah, is it like a legal move or legal element, whatever it said it was?
Yeah, I thought that was a weird because I just like I haven't read the tech books or anything, but just like basic watching of their nationals lift in their Four Continents lift, they looked like just the same. That I think there was a bit more like in the split maybe, but I wouldn't have thought that would be illegal.
Yeah, it's I wouldn't call that a split at all either. And
no, I wouldn't.
And actually, this lift was done a while ago I only remember it because I trained with them. But when Paul was skating with Vanessa and Crone, and they skated to Fallen in the Golden Waltz year, and what was called the short dance or whatever, they did that like exact upside down lift and leg in like a 4 position. That's the only reason I would say they would get a deduction is because that split thing is illegal. But her leg is maybe at like 11:30 instead of straight up and down. But it's hard to hold it in when you have that momentum of rotation. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah.
Daniel saying Capellini and Ladonte had a sustained split lift a number of years ago, and then it was made an illegal element. So
yeah,
it's
funny what goes in and out of the books. I mean, I went to go into the book, I was like, I don't see how that's illegal.
No, and then you know what? Like it's to me, it's like a decency law because they're like no upside down splits because it's unsightly. But then you have literally a pair lift where it's common for the lifted partner to be literally in a full lift with like the crotch out because it's just an athletic movement. It's nothing to do with that's unsightly. I don't get it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, it's dumb.
The rules around like taste and whatever are so
archaic.
Right. Women have the right to wear pants 3 years ago. It's just like what?
yeah. I mean,
yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. There's a lot of if we get into debating the aesthetics of pair and dance lifts, and we could be here a long time.
It's interesting that like it's this team in particular that these kind of illegal moves keep happening to. I think because I do think Marie Jade in particular is potentially a weaker skater in the ice dance field, but she has so much acrobatic ability that is what they then pride themselves on, doing as many kind of fancy acrobatic moves as possible to then improve their scores. And yeah, it's interesting that it keeps coming down on them for these illegal problems.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's an odd one.
But I do like their free program. My favorite part is the floating head movement, and then of course like the end lift. Always like look mono hands drop that. I like I do agree that they're not the strongest skaters in the event, especially with the height difference that they have. It's harder to match lines, but they really make it work for themselves, like you said, Lois, with the huge acrobatic moves, only things that they can really do. Yeah, I guess. Was this the first time they got this illegal score for this lift?
I haven't seen them get it before. Yeah, I haven't seen them get it before this season.
That's annoying.
Because at least with the like last season when they were getting the character set, that was like early on in the season and they changed it.
Yeah. We definitely want that call way before a championship event, so it's definitely annoying. I'm sure they're not happy about that. I'm sure they figured out what it is. The coaches are probably right on it, and the tech or the Canadian. Was there a Canadian on the panel? Yeah.
I'm not sure. Might have been. I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Yeah, Marc-Andre Alain. He was
Yeah.
Or Andre Mark, sorry. There was one. So yeah, they'll get reports back on what happened there, but that sucks.
Yeah, it's odd. The on the national bias chart, it was saying that the Canadians were not the worst. They're pretty bad, but they weren't the worst. As opposed to the Australian judge who placed who was extra harsh on their own skaters, which
Just remind them how this works.
Don't you love the what number judge was it? Actually, I'm gonna look.
I was looking at the national bias chart from on skating scores. So I don't know what the number of the judge is, but they were
right on
three 3 points less than the what the score the TSS ended up being for the free stance. So I mean, it looks like that judge was scoring everyone kind of low, but like it's definitely a choice to score your own skaters extra low like that.
I'm looking at like the judges, and the problem for me is that I don't know which country they're from, other than obviously the Canadian ones.
Yeah.
Is Kathleen Couton a Australian? Nicholas Russell?
The Australian judge is
Mark Staunton.
Oh, Mike Staunton. Okay, judge number 5.
Yeah. Yeah. I always think it's interesting that there are judges from countries that are not competing in for the Four Continents judging panel. Like that always seems odd to me.
Yeah, because like Sarah showed me one earlier that there was an Irish judge. Is that in the men's event?
Yeah, there was a Spanish judge, a Slovak judge, a Swiss judge, a British judge, and a and then a French technical controller. But like, I don't know. I know that there's maybe a shortage of ISU judges from some countries, but still, it's always seems odd to me that how they do that. But
I guess because now they're all just representatives of the ISU, not the country. But we know that still play a factor. Maybe they're bringing people from the other continents to say, well, maybe you don't have a dog in the fight, and so it'll be more fair.
You'll be fairer.
Because that's how it always works.
It's interesting to see that.
Interesting thing brought up earlier about Green and Parsons from Laura. What did we discuss? So do we think Green and Parsons will change coaches after the season? Especially Caroline seems fed up at this point. Caroline is ending up like almost getting like the Caitlin Hawaii face in the kiss and cry at this point of frustration. And I don't necessarily blame her. I think this was probably one of their strongest outings of the season, and the scores maybe didn't quite reflect that. And obviously this would be the end of their season because they didn't get named to the world team. I think it's possible they change coaches. They seem to say that they're quite happy where they are. And obviously they've only been there for a couple of seasons with Charlie and Tanif and Greg. But yeah, something needs to change. I don't know what that necessarily is, but they're not on the upward trajectory that they thought they would be.
Yeah, it's rough because I think, yes, they could change, but if they go to Montreal, then I don't know. It seems like they're just in the same mix as everybody else. I don't know. It seems, I don't know. I don't understand Ice Dance politics, but from a like human level, it seems like that would be not the right choice to make, but
yeah. I think the vehicles that they produced in these last 2 seasons have been quite mesmerizing. I like what they're doing, but again, and if you think as a former ice dancer, it's hard to understand the politics as well when you're there. Like you get it, but then you don't get it, and then it just continues. I really don't know. It's like, to me, like especially at this event, like who are the new team? She used to be a free skater for Cyprus.
Amelia Zingas and Vadim.
Yeah, like I think they got a pretty higher score than I thought they would, but I do really like how quickly they've meshed and gelled, and they really, I think, especially because this is, I believe is this their first season together, or am I making that up?
Second.
But
I think this is probably the first championship.
Yeah. like they really capitalize on her free skate ability. A lot of jump entrances, a lot of repetition of like the leg kick, ground thingy, blah blah blah. But they really give great energy and finish. And so I would just say they're a little bit more exciting than Caroline Green and Michael Parsons, but I don't think they are at the necessarily the same level.
This rise this year, and it'll be interesting to see if they can sustain it, because it seems like what's happening is that everyone keeps getting this push and then they sink, and a push and then they sink, and so I don't know what's going to go. I unfortunately have to jump off. I'm sorry to leave us midstream, but thanks so much, Asher.
Oh, thank you for having me. Yes, I actually have to go in like about 10 minutes too.
We'll wrap things up.
Yeah, don't worry.
We'll be able to wrap things up by then. A couple of like left field suggestions for Green and Parsons, them to Barbara Fusapoli.
I don't know if that would work, but it's a cool idea. But I don't know if she's been able to replicate the success she's had with Riyadh Fabry with anybody else so far. So it'll be interesting.
I mean, it seems like she'd be a fun coach to have, but yeah.
That would be wild. Like Green and Parsons going to Karine Araba in France, who coaches Mugio Le Mercier and a lot of junior teams. She has the most interesting choreography for her teams. So that would be really interesting. I just don't know if that would be politically the best choice for them, because it's a much smaller place.
But I mean, they're always looking for their next. And then, there are benefits to being does this make sense? Like a legacy country within the field. So if you are like one of the top skaters in France, you are going to get that little boost. Not saying that no one has the talent, of course, but they want to keep their spots. So I think there's maybe something to that a little bit, but
just to jump back to the Japanese ice dance field, the world spot for once was going to be decided at Four Continents for Japanese ice dance, and then because the nationals results were so close together, and obviously Misato and Tim sort of ran away with the point. I think it was a good idea though from the Japanese Federation, and hopefully they do it again with future competitions, to not just base it off nationals results, even if they are close.
Yeah, they'll probably rewrite the rules regarding ice dance, because they didn't even consider that the possibility that like everyone would be in a different placement in the rhythm dance and the free dance at nationals, and be so close together. But yeah, I think there's kind of a clear hierarchy of 1, 2, 3 after that competition, but I would love to see the younger teams develop and get more opportunities to have international competitions, because this was only their second competition.
And it's definitely a disservice. I have not watched these other two Japanese teams, so I gotta check them out.
I think it was Tanaka and Nishiyama who have a Mario Brothers rhythm dance, and it's they have a Mario Brothers rhythm dance. It's incredible. It's so different to everything else in the field. It's so much fun.
Is this Tanaka and Nishiyama? No.
Yes.
Okay, well,
it's so much fun.
Adding it. Okay, I got the Spice Girls, Miss with the 5 names, and this team. Okay, wow. Okay, yeah. I love that. Is that? Oh, I guess Mario's is 80.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good for them. I mean, if you can do both Ghostbusters, then yeah, we need some Mario. One of Japan's best exploits.
It's so good.
No, I haven't, Daniel. Oh god! Wait, who had a Mario program way back when? Wasn't it Nobunari Oda?
Probably.
And then like he did like little jumps when like the ding ding happened. Yeah, okay, yeah. I think it was.
That's a test for me. Someone in the comments might know.
Yes, in the comments, does anyone remember this Mario program? I think it was Nobunari when he was Kosho Oshima as well.
Oh, he has. I think his is this season.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he had a really good one at Japanese Nationals.
That's fun.
That one I do remember because it's Princess Peach. I think, I don't know Mario Brothers Law.
Yeah.
That's the song.
Yeah. She likes to get kidnapped for the attention, and then you gotta go for the 900th time to go rescue her.
Yeah, I think we sort of been skirting around this topic, but we do want to address it before we end. Lawrence and Nick competing at Four Continents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get why the change cannot be made, that they still have to compete there because they were assigned there before the allegations came out. So I entirely get that, because then Skate Canada will probably set themselves up for a whole bunch of legal problems if they remove them from that team.
Yeah.
The problem I have is they are very clearly probably going to be named to the World Team because they're talking in the mix zone and the kiss and cry and stuff about going to Worlds and how this builds the momentum into Worlds. And that is uncomfortable for everyone watching, who, you know, we want to believe survivors and we want there to be repercussions. And things just seem to be carrying on as normal, and everyone seems to be just kind of silencing people from kind of attacking the issue. The media were told they weren't allowed to talk about it. People under Skate Canada's umbrella have been told they're not allowed to talk about it because there's an investigation going on. So, like, we can't even question them.
No.
Even if you did and they said no comment, at least you would be able to ask the question, but you can't even do that. So yeah, it's not great. It's not a great situation.
It's not a great situation. It's not a good look for Team Canada either. I think it casts a shadow on the team itself.
Yep.
And then also, you know, when you're being muzzled, and I think some skaters would also not like to talk about it because of the, not implications, but it's just like a third rail for them. And then especially it was interesting to see Piper post the podium but not tag them in it, because I think, you know, she's on the side of believing survivors as well as I am, and it just feels so gross. And I know they're trying not to open themselves up to litigation and all these different things, and there still has to be an investigation done. The statute of limitations are up for a criminal charge, but we can't not speak about the graphic nature of what was reported. We can't not speak about the very real violence against women in sports is just a microcosm of that in society, and it's happened time and time again. And I just wish there was a way that we could have these honest and frank conversations, because again, I think as well as if you know all the things that are happening to you, but you're coming still into the public sphere, then you have to face the public scrutiny. No one's saying that you can't compete, but there's going to be, you're going to have to answer questions about this stuff. And I feel also for, obviously, very much for the victim, but then, like, you know, the Ice Academy of Montreal, like, I wonder how this is affecting the training environment. Yeah.
I'm a bit critical also of how the Ice Academy of Montreal are handling it. They always do posts promoting which skaters and which teams they're having at events, and they did the same as they usually do, and had Lawrence and Nick on there, and people were very critical of that in their comments. And then suddenly all comments shut down, and then every post that has them from there on out, no comments on any post that has Lawrence and Nick on it. So they're kind of avoiding the situation, and the fact that they have a 3-pillar kind of like charter of values that you can read on the website, and the third one is like I am safe, and that being one of the pillars that they build their kind of school around. The fact that Nick was coaching before this investigation kicked off. I don't think he's allowed to while the investigation is happening. But that potentially puts other skaters in their school at risk as well. And they're just kind of avoiding the topic. And kind of same as Skate Canada, just kind of pretending it's not happening.
Yeah, I think that's the most annoying thing. I didn't know anything about the Ice Dance Montreal posts because like I'm on Twitter and then I'm off, or Instagram, not Twitter, whatever that is anymore. But it's and you know, every sport organization has had to deal with the reckoning of sexual violence. Like right now, I don't know if you guys are paying attention to Canadian news at all. In London, Ontario, it took 6 years for them to bring charges against 5 members of the junior world team in London, Ontario. It's something that constantly gets swept under the rug. Yes, we still need verification of things and blah, 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 but we know by and large, this goes underreported, this goes underinvestigated, no one's believed. And then finally, when there's heat and pressure and people have been yelling about it, they're finally like dragging their feet, like, fine, we'll say something, we'll do something. But I think at the end of the day, regardless of if, you know, Skate Canada's in a particular position to not open themselves to litigation, to make sure they send them once they've named everybody, it's a conversation that needs to be had. And I'm not there on the ground with Skate Canada and what they have to say about it, but I felt like their first initial post about it was, again, fair weather. I think they since deleted it off Instagram from when I saw it, but yeah, I don't know.
It's kind of like they thought that Nick and Lana kind of thought they could withdraw from nationals and then it would kind of go away. That's
that
not,
was
not going to happen. But
and the reason for it, like, to not be a distraction to the skaters at nationals, but then you go to international events to be a distraction on an international scale is And then I guess the other thing too is you have now your actual partner, not only partner but life partner involved, and it's their career too, and it's shit. It's shit. It's awful. I hate it. I really, but we can't ignore it.
And there's so many other stories going on right now as well. Like there's the 2 skaters who have filed a lawsuit against US Figure Skating about a coach who has abused them, and then there's Gracie Gold's book coming out about a skater who's abused her, and there's so much.
Oh, is that for the one about Delilah? That one?
No, it's a different one. There's Gracie Gold's book talked about how a skater raped her at a party when she was 21. And then there's so many stories going on now, and it's all very depressing just to be a fan of the sport right now.
But this is what we're talking about. Like we didn't know that until now, and it goes underreported, but you know, you'll still have a faction of people being like, well, how did you let that happen? I can't believe that got to the bed. And then like someone changed their mind, and it's like, yeah, you're allowed to change your mind. Human beings do it all the time. And when it's changed, like that should be the end of it. It's like there's still and you know, you see it with the reckoning of and it's continual reckoning. It's not like it happens once and then everyone deals with it. It's like, okay, violence against women, there's a flashpoint, Me Too, and then we're like, oh, we're all about it, and then 2 years later, now the people who are the problem become or the people who are actually victimizing the people are now the victims in a way. Or same thing with the racism, anti-Black racism, homophobia. It's like all these flashpoints bring us together, then we get fractured again into this bullshit of not believing and not seeing, even though the evidence points very heavily towards that this abuse happens and is most likely credible. Of course, things still have to come out, but more oftentimes than not, it's not the victim trying to just ruin someone else's credibility and status in the world, because it's such a deep and hurtful and painful thing,
and so
be kind of frank. It's like
so
akin to murder. Yeah,
come out and say what's happened to you, knowing that you may not be believed, it may not make a difference, but you're reliving that trauma and you're reliving the situation that's happened to you, and you wouldn't do that unless you thought you could try and it was going to help somebody else or get you some justice.
Oh my God.
It's a very depressing note to end.
I mean, but it's I'm happy we're talking about it. Because, I feel like sometimes even, and when you're doing especially broadcasts for a sports organizer, like a national broadcasting thing, like you got to be very careful with my words and things like that. And like, blah, blah, blah. And I think I have been, but making sure that the understanding that this is serious shit that has been going on in our sport forever. We don't have to reach far
We're
back.
only just finding out about a lot of things that happened 10 plus years ago. So yeah, I think it's a heavy note to end on, but it's a necessary note to end on. So Asha, again, thank you so much for your time. Thank you everyone for tuning in and listening. And we'll see you for our next stream.
I think that'll be
sometime next month.
I think it'll be after Junior.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you
everyone.
for having me. It was wonderful to meet you, Lois and Sarah. And bye,
Thank
everybody.
You.
Hope I didn't say too much.